Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Katawa Shoujo Part 9. It turns out the person lurking in the shadows was Rin. What is she up to? Let's find out. Rin? What are you doing out here so late? Rin? Lilly perks her head, looking like she's trying to focus on listening more keenly. It suddenly comes to me that I should probably interpret the scene for her. It's Rin. Tezuka, I think, was her last name, from our school. She stiffens at the name and gives a complicated-looking expression, something like a forced fusion of a composed smile and a painful cringe. Ah, I understand. I guess Lilly knows Rin, too. Rin turns to look at us, looking terribly out of it. I'm not entirely sure if she recognizes either of us, or at least she doesn't acknowledge it if she does. She looks like a zombie, or a statue. A statue of a zombie. But slowly, some symptoms of understanding seem to lighten her dark eyes. This is something she must react to. Rin blinks once, very thoroughly. Hello. There is an awkward pause, everyone waiting for someone else to say something. What are you doing here this late? I was wondering about that myself too, just now. Some people asked that just before. I assumed they were wondering the same. I didn't know. They didn't know either. I asked. That's why I'm wondering. So that was pretty much it. It's a murder mystery without a murder. They were going that way. She turns facing to her right in order to demonstrate the direction the other people went to, as if that was important. Then rotates back like a mechanical puppet in one of those overly complicated clockworks. For a person who gives an impression of being the quiet type, Rin really does use a lot of words to say things that don't need a lot to be said. Unsure if she's finished, I say nothing. Neither does Lilly, who seems equally robbed of words for the time being. I think that the both of us are in fact just scared that any response might provoke her to continue. Our stupefied lack of reaction doesn't faze Rin at all. She keeps looking at us expectantly, a calm hint of expression on her blank face. She seems to be that kind of person, always so relaxed. As if bull elephant grade sedatives were flowing in her veins in the place of blood. Do you have amnesia? I don't recall you having anything of the sort, though. No, I don't think it's that. The other passers-by were probably just worried, though. You do look really lost, the way you're standing in the middle of the street. Oh, I see. Maybe I should have taken some other kind of pose in that case. I ponder for a while whether I should chase this angle further or give up for the sake of my own sanity. I decide on the latter. It seems that most of the time it's better to not read too deeply into what Rin is babbling about. Talking with Rin is like playing chess with a supercomputer who does seemingly completely random moves, as if to mock everything you know about chess. It's like that, except with human interaction. And even if I win, it feels like I'm losing. Damn! It's just like Kenji said, even when I win, I lose. Is this the power of the girls of Yamaku? Hisao, please don't read too much into Kenji's thoughts. Ay, ay, ay. I push the thought aside as too dangerous to consider further. It's probably just Kenji's anti-female propaganda getting to me during a moment of weakness. Yeah, maybe taking another pose might have worked. So anyway, you have no idea what you're doing here? She frowns, looking extremely displeased at either my question, its consequences, or the answer she's about to give. I do have some idea. I can't really tell what kind of an idea. That sounds like progress, at least. Lilly sounds as if she spotted an opening for some kind of discernibly normal conversation. I can't say I share her optimism. Yes, there is some, definitely. The rest will come later. I'm sure of it. I always have reasons. The ensuing silence kills Lily's hopes all too visibly. That didn't last long. Rin's, as far as I could tell, unbased assurances aside, what should be done? We could just leave her to her own devices, whatever those are, but it's late and I don't think we'll be getting any thanks if Rin is found standing here in the middle of the night. Which she probably will, unless she manages to remember what she was doing here in the first place. As for me trying to guess what might have been going on in her mind when she decided to embark on this adventure, the chances seem to be on par with winning the lottery. Several times in a row. Lilly is oddly quiet too. I'd appreciate some support from the sidelines here, especially if she's more familiar with Rin than I am. But it can't be helped. It seems her familiarity with Rin is exactly why she's staying subdued. So, I assume you were going somewhere, not coming back to the school? Any idea where? Her eyes widen in shock and she jolts back in a somewhat artificial way, making it seem like an act rehearsed for situations like this. Are you a mind reader? Is that your disability? How unique. No, what? Why would you think that? You knew what I was doing. It was just an educated guess. We walked this same street in the other direction just before to get to the store. If you were going to school, we would have met you on the way. Oh. She looks a little disappointed. Like Kenji, Rin appears quick to jump to completely irrational conclusions. Maybe it's something in the water here. I make a mental note to stock up on soft drinks. You know, that is the second time this week that someone asked if I was a mind reader. Do I really give off that impression? Rin shrugs her shoulders, which is all the answer I get. You know, maybe you should come with us back to the school? Lilly interjects just as I'm about to further debunk my alleged mind-reading capabilities. She sounds rather concerned, the paper-thin smile on her face badly disguising that fact. Maybe she came to the same conclusion as I did. For everyone's sake, I decided to let the mind-reading topic drop, as it's entirely inane anyway. Yeah, Lily's right. If you can't remember, there's no point staying here. Rin considers this rather simple deduction for a moment, then nods. Okay. We start towards the school again, having wasted way more time than necessary with this episode. Rin walks along the edge of the sidewalk in her rhythmic way, looking like a mix of a sleepwalker and rope dancer, while Lily keeps one hand on my shoulder, tapping at the ground with her cane. Tap, step, step, tap, tap, step, step, step. Apart from that and a few fragmented beginnings of conversation, it's quiet. Quite apart from the relaxing one in the town, at that. So, how's the mural going? We are going to get bad luck. Never talk about works in progress. I'm sure it'll be wonderful. Bad luck. Tap, step, tap, step. She doesn't care to talk about it. Lily's politeness feels out of place for the first time. Step, step, step. The hill Yamaku rests on top of is surprisingly steep, going uphill. We slow the pace, but I still feel my pulse rising and breathing getting heavier. Almost there, I can see the gates already. More than that, though, I notice that Lily's hand slightly tightens on my shoulder. Interpreting it as a gesture that she wants to ask something, I speak up. Anything wrong, Lily? I resist the urge to say aside from our traveling companion, but only just. For a moment, she seems to debate whether she should even bring it up, but goes for it anyway. Is everything alright? Alright? How do you mean? The fact I can't interpret her incredibly vague question puts her off, for a second. It's just you seem unusually tired, I guess. Now that she brings it up, I notice that my breathing is strangely heavy. The uphill walk has really done a job on me. Lily noticed it all too quickly. Alright, this is a very pivotal gate. One will lead you towards a death sentence, and the other will push you towards Lily or Hanako's route. So, we want to be upfront with Lily. Sorry, I'm not in a very good condition. It's alright. I just need to catch my breath. My condition isn't the best these days. Oh. Is it something that is related to you being transferred here? I mean... She cuts herself off rather abruptly, maybe realizing she was being a bit intrusive. Her instincts are sharp, though, and while I don't like the subject, it's not like I should lie about it. If it's Lily, I don't think I mind. I'm just a little too weak for the time being. Hanako said you looked fairly healthy, so I naturally thought. Lily doesn't finish her sentence again, letting it trail off with a measure of concern. As she furrows her brow, Lily's uncomfortable expression spurs me to say at least something to ease her feelings. It's surprising she's this flustered, considering her straightforward attitude with her own blindness. She must know that not all share her own comfort about such things. No, it's okay. I have a pretty... I guess the best way to put it would be messed up heart. Arrhythmia. I had a bad heart attack a while ago because of it, and spent most of the spring in a hospital. Ended in Yamaku and a doctor's orders. She silently nods her head in acknowledgement. My answer, though, only seems to make Lily furrow her brow even further. She doesn't seem to quite know how to react, given we don't really know each other that well. I can't really fault her for it, given I have the exact same reaction. To my surprise, in a moment's time, her face shows that she comes to some sort of realization. Wait, so the time when Emmy and you collided in the hallway? I grimace slightly. Her ability to connect the dots quite so fast is unexpected. Yeah, I guess I'm a textbook example of why those rules about running in the corridors exist. That was a lot more dry than I had intended. Lily visibly shies away from continuing the topic. While I do want to assuage her concern, I really don't want to dwell on this either. Don't worry about it. I try to offer a reassuring smile, but then I realize the futility. Without knowing this, Lily smiles at me reassuringly, but doesn't say anything further. Arriving at the dorms, Rin stops in front of her mural, as if lightning struck her. She had been so quiet for almost all the walk back that I had all but forgotten she was here. It's Friday, isn't it? Yes, Friday the 8th of June. This is bad. Bad? Why? I think I am going to go into a fetal position and throw up, possibly in reverse order. Something wrong? No, nothing is wrong. It's Friday and nothing is wrong yet. And this mural, it's going to need to be finished by Sunday, so everything's alright. Do you have any drugs or a time machine? This is not good. Not good. So, she's behind her schedule. Recalling Shizune's exasperation at Rin's carefree attitude several days ago, I don't know what to think. She has left herself open for a told you so, unless she can pull off whatever she needs to pull off by Sunday morning. Rin keeps staring at her mural, looking as mortified as she can. Leave me. I'm going to need to work for a while. I glance at Lily, expecting her to share an incredulous look with me as I roll my eyes, but then I realize she's not one to do that kind of thing. Leave me. We do, of course, not wanting to aggravate her any more than she already is. There is a churning bad feeling in my gut. Rin sure has a knack of making people feel worried about her. She seems like a person who should never be left alone. Maybe we should call someone? She sounded like she was going into shock or something. I'm sure she'll be just fine. She's just, how to say? Lily cocks her head a little, trying to find a polite way of calling Rin crazy without calling her crazy. Unique? Yes, a very unique person. I guess you could say that. She giggles at the notion melodiously, nodding in agreement. Sorry about leaving you stranded as you talk to her. I don't really understand her, so I keep my distance. So my guess was right. Lily offers a slight apologetic smile as if she was sorry that her own shortcomings have prevented her from becoming closer to Rin. I'm not one to blame her at all. Lily lets slip a long breath. Probably a disguised yawn. I imagine she's as exhausted by all this as I am. I'd better leave now and give these to Hanako. Thank you for the company, Hisao. She smiles very sweetly at me. It feels different than normal, despite the fact that she seems to be smiling so often. I can't put my finger on what the difference is. It's just different. Relaxed, I'd say, but that's probably just relief over getting rid of Rin, maybe. Yeah, good night. Say hi to Hanako for me. I will. Good night. Bye, Lily. And it's the end of another day. Yeah, we should be nearing the end of Act 1. Not too much more to go. I think there's one more decision gate coming up. The students roll into class for the Saturday morning session, each and every one of them sporting the tired eyes of people that have worked through the night. With only a day left to prepare, I suppose it's not so surprising. Thankfully, we only have to suffer through classes until the lunch break, and then our time is our own. Mutou lurches into class in a tired stagger. I suppose students aren't the only people here that enjoy their late Friday nights. Without saying a word, he scrawls some pages and question numbers on the board and slumps down at his desk. It's completely atypical behavior for him, but it appears that no one is in the... let me read that again. But it appears that no one in the class is going to call him out on it. Wordlessly, the students shuffle their textbooks into position and get to work. Not wanting to break the trend, I do the same. Fatigue has made me the class anti-social. Not a peep is heard among the ruffling papers. That can partially be attributed to the two empty seats beside me. For some reason, Misha and Shizune aren't present, probably doing console work for the festival. It's very quiet without Misha present. I wonder if she was born as rowdy as she is, or if she is making up for Shizune's lack of voice. Nakai, can I speak to you for a moment? I'm so engrossed in thinking about Misha that I don't even notice Mutou approaching my desk. Sure, what's this about? It's probably better if we speak outside the classroom. Something about this doesn't sound too good, but I stand up and follow him out into the hallway. Mutou stands in the hallway, scratching his head as he works out what he is trying to say. Not knowing what is going on, I wait silently. So, tell me, how are things? Things? I expected Mutou to be a little vague, but this is pushing the limits. You know, things. You've had a week to settle in now, so how are things? Fine, I guess. I see. And how is your condition? The pause before condition seemed a little unnecessary. Haven't had any problems so far. A brief shimmer of relief passes across Mutou's face. Good. That's good. The school nurse was a little concerned that you might have been pushing yourself a bit too hard. He asked me to keep an eye on you when he couldn't. That makes sense. I'd ask that you don't blow us off so freely. As much as we try to give you the level of education that you would get at a normal school, you have to realize that you have limits. Our goal is to make sure that you know where these limits are, and how to maximize your potential within them. Do you follow me? I guess. I mean, I don't plan on doing anything stupid. Well, that's a start, I guess. So then, on to my next question. How are you finding your studies? I understand you were laid up for a while. We're not too far ahead, are we? I don't really think so. I tried to keep up when I was in the hospital, so it hasn't been too hard. Mutou taps his chin and raises an eyebrow as he absorbs this information. Is that so? I suppose there are still students out there that realize the importance of learning. I wouldn't go that far. I was only trying to keep myself occupied in my little life support prison. Well, yeah, you've got to keep up with these things, right? That's exactly it. One wrong move in this world and you're left behind, right? Right. Wouldn't want that to happen. No, you wouldn't. Every week there's a new scientific discovery. Most of them mean nothing to the layperson, but any one of them could be the key to the next big thing. I'll keep that in mind. It's obvious that Mutou's serious talk is over, and he's gone back to his standard, slightly scatterbrained approach to life. I think in hindsight that I prefer him this way. He's slightly more predictable in his unpredictability. Well then, I think that's all I really had to say. Let's get back inside, shall we? My relief at that suggestion is insurmountable. Sure, you're the boss, right? Mutou pauses for a moment. I don't think any of my students have ever said that to me before. For an instant, I consider replying to this, but something deep within me tells me to shut my mouth and get back into the classroom. A few of the students jump at the sound of the door, rapidly trying to pretend that they are working on the questions on the board. Some don't even bother, their heads slumped on the desk as they nap. Thankfully, it would appear that Mutou does not even notice them. He returns to his desk and retrieves a scientific journal from one of the drawers. I guess I got to him there. The class returns to the near silence that Mutou and I left it in before our chat. Mixed feelings of tiredness and anticipation buzz around the room. Everyone here is either waiting for a chance to rest or the chance to get their last-minute preparations underway. The clock on the wall slowly ticks the remaining class time away until finally the bells cry out, ending the torment. Before you all leave, I expect the answers for those problems by Monday. The class sighs as one, instantly regretting slacking off, but still acutely aware of the more pressing issues at hand. The classroom empties in a blink as everyone rushes to their last-minute festival preparations. I stay behind and try to quickly finish the question so I don't have to bother with it over the rest of the weekend, with the festival and all tomorrow. Apart from me, Hanako is the only one left, obviously waiting for Lilly. It's weird that Lilly comes all the way to our classroom to pick her up. I expect that moving around is at least nominally harder for her than it is for Hanako. But it's none of my business, and I naturally don't ask about it from Hanako. Despite the relative proximity of our seats, neither tries to strike up a conversation about that, or anything else either, so an oppressive silence falls upon the classroom. Time passes in silence. It's probably just 15 minutes or so, but it feels longer. I turn pages of my notebook. Hanako turns pages of the novel she's reading. My pencil lead splinters against the paper just when I was about to finish a paragraph. The sounds of my irritated sigh and subsequent fumbling around for a sharper feel, like they are breaking the mood in the classroom. Hanako keeps her eyes firmly away from my direction. Before long, Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. Hanako? Her name is all it takes to make Hanako jump up from her desk and run to Lily. They talk quietly for a moment, but it isn't long before Lily leaves down the hall and Hanako idles back into the classroom, taking her seat once again. I watch Hanako out of the corner of my eye out of sheer curiosity at the idea the two would be separated. For a couple of minutes, she does nothing but sit with her chin in her hand, staring at the desk dejectedly. The boredom evidently becomes too much for her, though, her slender frame reaching into her bag and pulling out a small book. Come to think of it, that isn't the one I saw her reading at the library. She must be quite a fast reader to get through them at this rate. But why would Lilly leave her to her own devices? It seems to be quite out of the ordinary, going by Hanako's reaction. Ah, that's right. I think Lilly mentioned something about going into town today before Rin bumped into us. The thought of that walk makes me look outside. The bright sun and occasional people wandering around and enjoying the afternoon makes me yearn to get out of school, or at least do something other than sit here. Giving into one of my worst vices, procrastination, I decide that history is a subject best studied on a Sunday, or a Monday, or on any day other than this one. I give a grunt as I lever myself out of my seat, briefly debating with myself whether or not to hang out with Kenji. He doesn't strike me as the enjoying the nice weather outside with others kind of person, really. I guess I'll catch up with him later. Changing tacks, I briefly entertain the idea of talking with Hanako, but by the time I look at her seat, it's vacant. She must have left for the library. There's got to be something to do that can kill the time. Alright, this is a very pivotal decision gate here. This is where it's going to either take you towards Hanako's route or it's going to take you towards Lilly. Going for a walk into the town is going to take you on Lilly's route permanently. Going to the library is going to take us on Hanako's route permanently. So, we're doing Hanako. Off to the library we go. The library seems as good a place as any to go. Hanako looked as if she was taken pretty off guard by Lilly leaving, so she might somewhat want someone to talk to. Slinging my bag over my shoulder, I make my way out of the classroom. I walk down the hallway to the library, past a multitude of closed doors. Through each one, the sound of furious rehearsal can be heard. Rock music blares out of one door almost as loud as a concert. I guess that's one of the advantages of a private school. There are actually enough rooms to go around at a time like this. And when I think about it, the grounds and buildings of the school are kept in pretty good condition. That can't be too cheap. I've heard that this place has some pretty serious benefactors. The walls of the library only partially insulate the noise of the festival preparations, but they're the only sounds to be heard. Not a soul stirs here, with everyone apparently enjoying the weather outside or working on festival events. Yuko isn't here either. Maybe she doesn't work on Saturdays. I quietly walk through the library, now fairly familiar with its layout. I head to the back where Hanako's private little corner is. I run my hand along the spines of the books on the way through, feeling the individual texture of each as I glance around across the titles. I used to do this all the time at the library at the hospital. Some things never change, I guess. Like the smell of a library, no matter how much care you take, the paper in books is always going to degrade with time. Probably, no matter which library you go into, anywhere in the world, it must have that same musty smell. I find something that looks light enough to read without any major thought involved and look for Hanako in the reading area. Once again, she is sitting on a beanbag with her back to a bookshelf. Reading the same book she had in the classroom, she's slowly making her way through the pages. Unlike last time I saw her here, I quietly take a seat in a beanbag. The noise is enough to catch her attention, but not startle her. This delicate routine that must be followed each and every time I try to talk to her almost feels like hunting game. Is that the same book as before? Yes, I'm almost finished. Cool. I wonder if I should... Do you mind if I borrow it when you're finished? My mouth is faster than my mind, it seems. Sure. You may not like it, but... I'm sure it can't be that bad. After all, you've stuck with it, haven't you? I guess. I settle into my beanbag and set about reading my own book that had been buried in my bag. It's a light novel about pirates. To be honest, I'm barely skimming over the words, having chosen the book merely because it belongs to a different genre than I usually read. Finding it hard to muster enough enthusiasm to finish the book, and noting that I've inadvertently distracted Hanako quite a bit, I decide to try and make conversation. So, I see Lilly left without you. She nods before taking her eyes off the book. She must have been really into it after all. Lilly said she had to go and meet someone. Oh? Akira. Her sister. Sister? I haven't heard her talk about her family. She and Akira used to live together. I thought all the students lived in the dorms. We don't have to. But it's easier, right? I mean, there's food here and you're close to school. I don't think I've ever been to class on time so often in my life. Her badly hidden smile proves quite rewarding. Yeah, she is awfully cute. In the back of my mind, I know I have a bit of homework to catch up on, but it's quite comfortable in here. No one could find me and force me into working for their pet project either. Though now that I'm thinking about the festival, another question comes up. Hey Hanako, what are you doing for the festival? For a split second, I think that Hanako is about to throw her book in the air from shock. Sorry? I was just asking what you're doing for the festival tomorrow. Anything planned? I don't know. Hanako answers in the way that people do when they don't want you to ask any more questions. I take it large crowds and loud music aren't really her thing. Oh, okay. Change the subject. So, what's Lilly's sister like? She's nice. She's pretty like Lilly, but she dresses business-like. Business-like? She's always wearing a suit. Ah, I see. And that makes her less pretty somehow? Hanako gives him an embarrassed shake of her head. No, just different. I'll admit it, this has got me intrigued. To hear Hanako talk about someone other than Lilly's a first, and to be complimentary about it too. But as I try to picture this mystery sister, all I can think of is Lilly in a suit, and I can't imagine that not being attractive. Not at all. Well, one day you'll have to introduce me to her. Okay. Our brief conversation ends as abruptly as it started, and we both return to our novels. The passage of time is marked only by the gradual movement of the patch of light cast through the window. Slowly, the noises from the various rehearsals in the building fade out and die as students start to get hungry and tired. Just thinking about that makes my stomach start to turn knots around itself. I think it's time to head back. Do you think Lilly would be back by now? I think I might head back to my dorm. I'm pretty tired from this week. And not a word of that is a lie. Moving to a new school as it ramps up for a major event has been taxing, to say the least. I can feel myself nodding off as I read my book. Okay. I might stay here a little longer. Looking at Hanako's book, I can see that she is only a few pages away from completing it. For a moment, I consider hanging around until she finishes, but once again my stomach turns, emitting a gurgling sound. Sure thing. Well, I'm going to head off before it gets dark. I'll see you around, okay? Okay. See you, Hisao. Later. Hisao? Thank you for hanging out with me. I could see how hard it was for her to get that simple sentence out of her mouth. It leaves me hanging for a moment. So, there is someone in this school who is even lonelier than me. Maybe lonely is a wrong word. I haven't been lacking company for this first week, but I've still managed to feel somewhat alone and detached. Maybe lonely is a wrong word for Hanako, too. She has Lilly, after all, doesn't she? I realize I've been standing there far too long without answering, and pull off a flawless, not too exaggerated smile. You're welcome. Good night, Hanako. Night. I leave her to finish her book and head back to the dorms in the promise of food. And on that happy little note, ladies and gents, I think I will cut it off here once this screen ends. Love the music. Good stuff. Alright, we're definitely nearing the end of Act 1. Alright, I'll read this first. The next day, I wake up feeling a little lightheaded. It's almost noon already. Alrighty, folks, gonna cut it off here. Stay tuned for Let's Play Katawa Shoujo Part 10, when we'll go to the festival and hopefully run into Lilly and Hanako and maybe share our time with them. Anyways, see you later, peoples!